Hello, good evening. Welcome to the Trey Olds Radio Show. Thank you for joining us today. Today, my guest is actor and acting coach and teacher, Mr. Aaron Marcus. Thank you, and join us in a minute. Okay, my first question to you is, how did your career begin? How did you become an actor?
Well, it's a little bit different than for most people who grew up, thinking this is what I want to do. For me, I actually needed a job when I was in college, and I met an actor, and he told me what he did, and I thought, he did mostly commercials, TV commercials, and I thought, you know what? That sounds like fun, and it seemed like a perfect kind of part-time job while I was a full-time college student. Mm-hmm. So I spent 2 years doing acting and commercial modeling. We can talk more about that if you would like later. For 2 years while I was a full-time college student, and what I found was I was really enjoying myself, and I decided that I want to pursue this on a full-time basis. So that's what I did, and that was over 36 years ago. That's what my daytime job is.
Wonderful. And you do it all. You've done acting, and you said commercial modeling, and you also teach acting. Is that right? Teach acting?
I do private online mentoring. I have a mentoring program, and I help people who are interested in either getting started in the acting or modeling industry, and I work with people one-on-one. And they can learn more about it if they're interested. My website is howtoactandmodel.com. It's all spelled out. And you can just click on the mentoring program tab. And I also do, or at least before the pandemic, I used to do hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of in-person workshops as well. And I also do narration and some radio spots and so, voiceover work also. Along with TV and film. Mm-hmm.
So you've done it all so far.
Yeah, I even wrote a book, How to Become a Successful Actor and Model, which people can find either at my website or on Amazon. Mm-hmm. And the book is just really, really helpful for people, once again, who are interested in getting started or have been working in the industry for a while, but they feel like they're kind of stuck, or for people who've been working for years but want to take their career, to the next level.
Wonderful. And you never stop learning. There's always room to learn in this business.
Trey, that is such an important point and something that I always mention to people. Look, I've done almost 1,300 jobs, and I still try to learn something new every day. And I feel like somebody says, well, I've been doing this for a while. I don't have to take classes. I don't have to study with people. I already know everything. To me, that's a time to leave the industry because there's always something new to learn.
Absolutely. No matter how old you are, there's always room and time to learn.
Yeah, you're right. And also, no matter how old you are, if you're interested in working in the acting or commercial modeling industry, you should look into it. Sometimes people who I speak with in their 30s or 40s or 50s will say, well, I'm too old to be a model. I can't do that work. That's silly. Well, sometimes people, when they hear the word modeling, they only think of fashion modeling. Those are, the supermodels that you see on runways who are promoting high-end designer clothes. But there's a whole other world of modeling out there, which is what I do, and it's called commercial modeling. And these are the real-looking people who will portray. It could be the infant, could be the doctor and lawyer, the professor, the college student, and everybody in between. So if you learn how to put together the right photos and find an agent, although there are ways that you can get work on your own, which I do teach people, but having an agent can be great, and you have the right materials, you have a local agent, and, hopefully you can get some work.
Absolutely. My next question to you is, what do you find is the most challenging part or the most difficult part being in the industry?
Boy, that also is a wonderful question, Trey. I would say It's the unknown. There are so many things that we as actors have that we don't have any control over. Like, for instance, I do a lot of auditioning. And to be very honest, and I always share this with people, most of the auditions that I have, I do not book. I do not get most of the auditions that I'm trying to get a role on. And I think what can be hard for some people, and it took me years to figure this out, what can be very frustrating is that you can't take anything personally in this industry. When you don't book a job, it's not a statement about how good of a person you are. It's not even a statement of how good of an actor you are. It's not like the Olympics. It's not the person who performs the best at the audition who gets the job. Because, there are a lot of really good actors auditioning for a role, and sometimes it just comes down to what either the casting director, or if it's a film, the director or other people involved in the project, it's how they envision this character. And so, once again, it's not the best who necessarily gets hired. Certainly, you have to be good, you have to be talented, you have to have skills, absolutely. But then there are other factors that come into play that, we have no control over. And sometimes that can be hard for folks. And like I said, it took me years to kind of figure it out and just understand you have to go with the flow. Here's a perfect example. I'm working on a film right now, and I was supposed to, they changed my shoot date. This is the fourth time now. I was supposed to shoot tomorrow. Well, first of all, I was supposed to shoot yesterday. That didn't happen. They had to change it, so they changed it to tomorrow. And I just found out this morning they have to change it to Thursday. And so, once again, because I've been doing this for a while, I get it. Schedules change, things happen, and you just have to learn to go with the flow so you don't get frustrated.
Yeah, absolutely. In this business, you have to be persistent, passionate to your craft. It's an interesting business. It's not for everybody, but if you want to be in it, go for it.
Yeah, and you're very right about that as well. You do have to be persistent. And even if you have an agent, I highly recommend that people be proactive, that you don't just sit and wait for the phone to ring. I highly recommend that people learn how to market themselves. And I'm not implying in any way or suggesting that you sidestep your agent and try to book jobs without your agent if you have a contract stating that any job you get needs to go through the agent. But you can help your agent, and you can market yourself, try to get the auditions on your own or the bookings on your own, and then send it through your agent so your agent can negotiate things for you properly. But I think the more people, and this is true for any business, the more you put yourself out there and make connections and mingle with other people, the greater the chances are that things will happen. Because, I've heard the expression, it's all about who you know in the business. And I have a slightly different take on that. I think it's more important as to who knows you in the industry. So, if you can learn how to get more people to know about you, that will give you your best chance for success.
Absolutely. Connections are a wonderful thing in this business. The more people that know you or vice versa, you get jobs that way and different opportunities.
Yeah, you got to network and get yourself out there so people know that you are around.
Absolutely. Do you have any upcoming projects you can talk about? I know you said you're working on a film right now. Do you have any?
Yeah, right now this is the last thing that I know of. I typically don't know what's going to happen for me. I am up for a commercial modeling job for next week. I have not been booked for it yet. I've just been requested, and we're waiting for a date. So hopefully that will come up, and that will happen soon. But, I typically don't know from week to week when jobs happen for me. Sometimes bigger jobs for feature films, I will know things farther in advance. Like for this, I've known for, 7 weeks or so that I was going to be working, that I got cast, for this project. Shooting dates, like I said, have been, they've been jumping around quite a bit, but I knew that I was cast for it. But, for other things, like I was sent up to producers for a TV show. But, who knows what's going to happen with that. So as of now, nothing definite, but there are a couple things that hopefully will come through.
Absolutely. My next question to you is, because I'm an actor myself, I'm not a commercial model, but what's the difference between acting and commercial modeling, if you can explain?
Yeah, and you know what? Maybe commercial modeling is something you might want to look into, because I find that, well, first of all, let me first explain what commercial modeling is, and then I'll tell you why I view it as just another form of acting. So there are basically two types of modeling out there. There's fashion modeling and then commercial modeling. Now, like I mentioned before, fashion modeling, those are people, walking runways for New York Fashion Show, or in New York or in Paris or Milan. Commercial modeling is everything else, and you will see ads for anything with commercial modeling. It could be for toothpaste. It could be, pharmaceutical jobs. It could be education. It could be real estate. It could be senior retirement centers. I mean, it could be anything. And so, the trick with commercial modeling is learning how to create the right types of photos so that you can be considered for commercial modeling ads. You see commercial models in everything, from any non-fashion magazine, on the internet, newspaper ads, billboards, posters on the sides of buses. We're all over the place. And the beautiful thing is, it's not like the fashion industry where you've got to have a very specific body type and you have to be, unbelievably attractive. Commercial models, yeah, there are unbelievably beautiful commercial models that you might see in, Abercrombie and Fitch or Gap catalogs. Those are high-end commercial models. But then you have people who look like me. I look like everybody's next-door neighbor. I'm not a good-looking guy. I'm just like your average-looking person. And there's a lot of work for the average-looking person. And also, unlike the fashion industry, you don't have the height requirements. Like for women, if you want to be a fashion model, with a couple of exceptions, women are going to be between 5'9" and 6 feet tall. Their measurements are going to be 34, 24, 34. Men are going to be between 6 feet and 6 feet 2 and wear a size 40 jacket. Commercial models, we come in all shapes and sizes. And so, once again, learn how to put together the right commercial photos so that you can be considered. So that's something you might want to look into. And the reason why I connected with acting is because I view it as acting without words. So if I get hired to, let's say it's a pharmaceutical ad, or maybe, for a hospital, and I'm a patient, and I feel miserable because I have a horrible headache or a horrible fever or something like that, well, I've got to be able to pull that off just by showing that look with my facial and body expressions, because I don't have words. These are still pictures. So, I find that a lot of really successful commercial models are also actors, who know how to create variations of different types of emotions and portray them in a believable way in front of a still camera.
Absolutely. A different method of acting, you could say. Yeah.
Yeah, but, and sometimes, though, I use similar techniques of thinking of real experiences in my life that will give me the emotions that I need to show. Now, there are some different techniques that I might use, you're correct. But, look, portraying real and believable emotions, that holds true, whether you're using it for a film or a TV show or a commercial modeling ad.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And in this business, learn all what you can, become a double threat or triple threat. Learn all the skills and all the different methods you can, because that will come into play in different things.
Yeah, and you're right, because you never know where one thing might lead to another. I remember this happened to me a couple times, where I booked a commercial modeling ad that was running in magazines, and because the client liked the shot, they decided to hire me to do their TV commercial. So you never know where, like you were saying, where one thing might lead to another.
My last question to you is, and I know we talked a little bit about it, but what are your words of wisdom to people who want to get into this business, who want to be an actor? What's your advice?
Yeah, so there's a lot to say about that, but a couple of things. Look, if this is something that interests you, then pursue it. And I know it can be very hard if people do not have support from their family. They're told, "Oh, are you crazy? This isn't, something that you should be doing. You really think you live in a small town that you're going to get any kind of work?" There are lots of people who will try to steer you away from doing what you want to do. That, I can tell you, that happened to me when I felt like I was ready to start pursuing New York City. I lived in a very small market, and although I did get a lot of work, and just because you live in a small market, there is work available. You just have to learn how to find it. And once again, those are the kinds of things that I help teach people how to do. And, I knew that I could live with going to New York. I didn't move there. I still live in a small market, but I would commute. I knew that I could live trying to break into New York and not having any success. I wouldn't be happy about it, but I could live with that. If I could not get any agency representation, if I couldn't book any jobs in New York, I could live with that. What I couldn't live with was the unknown of not trying it and always wondering, I wonder what if. I wonder if I could have done this. That I couldn't live with. So what I would recommend, if this is something that interests you, look, you don't have to drop out of school. You don't have to give up a daytime job. Do it on a part-time basis. There are ways of getting work on a part-time basis. But get the right information. Don't spend years, like I did, just running around in circles and doing things by trial and error. I learned a lot by doing that, but I also spent money and a lot of time in areas that I really didn't need to and did not propel my career forward. So make sure you get the right information and make sure that you know enough about the industry so that you can separate the real people in the industry and the charlatans, the people who will promise you things, people who will guarantee you things, and really simply can't do that. And I do think it's really essential for people to know there are no guarantees. Like I said, I've done almost 1,300 jobs. There's no guarantee I am ever going to book another job for the rest of my life. Now, I'm planning on it. I'm certainly hoping that's the case. So anybody who tells you, yeah, you're going to make a fortune, just sign up, with me and, spend a bunch of money and you're going to be famous. Just watch out for that kind of stuff because there are no guarantees in the industry. And that's why I keep going back to find a mentor, get information, so you can do this in a smart and sensible way.
Absolutely. And you bring up another great point, this industry. If you want to be in this industry just for the money, that's not the case. That's...
Yeah, you're 100% right. Look, there are much easier ways of making money than by pursuing acting or commercial modeling. So, if somebody tells me, yeah, well, I want to become an actor so I can become famous and make billions of dollars. Once again, I would tell somebody, you know what, why don't you look into other areas? I think it would be much better for you to reach your goals that way. It is a hard industry. We are constantly being told no, even if it's a very, very, very small part. I don't care if it's a TV commercial or a feature film. Doesn't make any difference. They are hard to book. So just make sure that, you just do everything you can to, get the right information, and don't feel like you've got to just do this all at one time and just drop everything in the world. Do it on a part-time basis. Start off slowly. View it. Maybe you could just even view it as an extracurricular activity, as a hobby that you enjoy doing, but you're not, trying to make a living off of. Because that can be very difficult. And there are lots of people in this world who need steady income. They need to know when checks are coming in, what days they're working, what days they're off. And that's just not the reality of working as an actor or a commercial model.
Yeah, you have to love it. You have to be persistent, passionate about your craft. You have to love it.
You do, and what a great point. You have to love doing the work and forget about the money and things like that. Just enjoy the work.
Absolutely. Well, Aaron, thank you very much for letting me talk to you. It's been a pleasure, and I wish you continued success with your career.
Thank you so much, Ray. It was such a pleasure talking with you today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. And I'll send you a link to this interview, and you can share it on social media and your website or wherever,
Beautiful. When do you think it might be available?
Let's see. It should be up by Thursday or Friday.
Oh, wow. Okay. I probably won't be able to get to it until next week just because I'm going to be busy here. But sure, I'm more than happy to help share it and spread the word.
And that was actor, commercial model, and acting and commercial modeling teacher and coach, Mr. Aaron Marcus. Thank you very much for listening. And as always, God bless.